Week 1, day 1 of UTMB training, and this week is all about testing, so establishing benchmarks to see my fitness, my flexibility, and that will then determine all the training thresholds going forward for the next 30 weeks. Now it's a glorious day here today. Mont is looking amazing, the cows are chilling in the field behind me, but unfortunately my schedule is for me to be in the pain cave because I'm doing a bike power profile test, which I appreciate doesn't have much to do with running UTMB, but anyone who's followed the channel for a little while will know that I also do triathlons. So this is about establishing benchmarks not just for running but also for cycling. So today I'm going to be on the turbo trainer in the pain cave and suffering quite a lot. The power profile test that I'm doing is a bit like an FTP test, which some of you may be familiar with. So this is looking not just at functional threshold power, the theoretical power you can sustain for a 1 hour period, but also looks at sprint power, 5 minute and 1 minute. It's a really unpleasant test to do. So it involves a bit of a warm up, which is the most pleasant part of it, which is what I'm currently doing. And then it gets down with some flat out sprint efforts, have a bit of a rest, followed by a 5 minute effort, another rest, 20-minute FTP test, and then finally I do a 1 minute flat out effort as well. And this is about determining the various training intensities that I'll be doing for different durations of intervals going forward. Okay, first sprint, here we go. Oh, and that's only just the beginning. Oh. Heart rate up at 153 after only 7 seconds of effort. That's the sprints done, thankfully. So now I've got a 5 minute effort, testing slightly different elements of how the body responds. And then from this test, I'll show you all the results and look at how it compares power to weight as well, which is quite an interesting table. But I'm hoping that the 5 minute test is playing more into my strengths, as it's a little bit more about endurance, not entirely, but a little bit more about endurance than just flat out sprint power. And when I say flat out sprint power, for me that's more like very minimal sprint power. So 30 seconds to go before the 5 minute effort. Went off too hard, classic rookie error. Legs are killing. Heart rate saw up 181 at one point. Oh, can't wait to do 20 minutes now. Just over a minute to go now until kind of the classic 20-minute FTP test. But what makes this power profile test more difficult is you've already done a number of hard intervals beforehand. I just need to make sure that I don't go too hard at the start like I did in the 5 minute one, but given that the legs are pretty sore, I reckon that that's not going to be a problem. Halfway through, 165 heart rate, really hurting now. That's the 20-minute FTP test done. I think I actually went a bit too easy. The last 5 minutes were definitely the highest average watts, I think, of the 20 minutes. Maybe a little bit too conservative. Be interested to see what the data says. So another bit of recovery and then a 1 minute flat out effort and then the cool down. Power profile test done. If you are a cyclist, do an FTP test. Want to look at some other stats? Highly recommend doing the power profile test. There's a link to my Strava down below, so if you want to see what it looks like, make sure you check that out. But yeah, going to finish my cool down and now let's go and look at the numbers. I've just been reviewing the numbers from the profile test, and quite interesting, my 5 second, 1 minute and 5 minute power output were all actually higher, which I was quite surprised at given that I haven't done any specific training. However, as I thought, the FTP, the 20-minute effort, was actually down, and when I compare that for power to weight, for example, traditionally I was always stronger in the 20-minute effort versus all the other areas, whereas now actually my 5-minute effort puts me in, when you compare to other cyclists, at best one of my strongest area. So looking at the graph, previous data from the last 8 weeks and the current best as of today, you can see that in some areas, such as the 20-minute power output, is actually slightly lower. So that's dropped by about 20%, which is quite a big drop. I think probably because my legs were pretty tired and went a bit too hard on the 5-minute one. But yeah, so it gives me some really good data now and allows me to set my training zones for the coming weeks. And then the great thing about doing these tests is I can replicate that in a few weeks and see how the training is progressing. So if you want to see that in a few weeks' time, make sure that you subscribe to the channel. If you enjoyed this video, please like and share it, and I'll see you next time.